Well, it was a touchdown and a 2-point conversion for the Tampa Bay Lightning in their opening game of the Eastern Conference Final against the New York Islanders. We'll break that down, plus much, much more on this edition of Teal Town After Dark. Good evening, everyone. It is Monday night, September 7th, 2020. You think there would be like Monday night football. No, we got Monday night hockey. That's right. All we needed was Al Michaels to just say, good evening. I don't know how he sounds like John Shorthouse, but nonetheless.
Isaac Bruce with the touchdown, and the Lightning are up 8-2.
Yes. So welcome to Teal Town After Dark, your live interactive post-game. We do this after every single night in the Stanley Cup playoffs. So chat with us and fellow hockey fans in the YouTube chat on the page or the app. You can also follow us on the social, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, SoundCloud, Reddit, and of course that Discord. And for more Sharks content, visit us at tealtownusa.com. Joining me tonight, that is, he's not frozen, but yet it is 110 degrees outside, and he's determined to wear it. The return of Kevin Lacey.
Why is my mouth not moving right now? What is happening? Why am I wearing this? Actually, you know what? I really am wearing my teal tank top right now, although you can't see that. I do appreciate that you put a photo of a live look in from me from March or whenever we did that show.
Yes.
But in an effort to conserve power and resources on my laptop, I'm audio only this evening. But yeah, there you go. I ended up, just as Eric promised on the Friday show, I believe it was, here I am in a turtleneck, I guess.
Yes.
So thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. No problem. Hey, appreciate it to have somebody join me tonight following game one. And man, oh man, did Tampa Bay send a message, or was it more so the Islanders scrambled to get to Edmonton?
You know, oh man, I already threw out an Ian Reed, on the first sentence of the show.
Yes.
Man. But boy, Tampa Bay. I mean, this was the perfect game for them tonight. I mean, if you're the Islanders, you have to hope that this is not a sign of things to come, but it might very well be. And I mean, we'll get into the thick of it about this game, because even for an 8-2 lopsided game, I feel like there's actually quite a bit we can touch up on. But wow, I mean, Tampa Bay looked rested. You know, we saw last night with Dallas and Vegas, which I'm sure we'll talk about later, how lethargic both teams looked. And Islanders are kind of in the same situation as those two teams, whereas the Lightning haven't played for, 5-6 days, something like that.
Right.
So, boy, they came out firing and put the beat down, Eric.
No kidding. It all started out a minute 14 in. Braden, point, as Hockey Jerk would say, gets his seventh from Coleman and Shen to make it 1-0 Tampa. But Islanders came right back on the power play. Jordan Eberle, banged home a loose puck to make it 1-1. And unfortunately for the Islanders, who traveled from Toronto to Edmonton yesterday, came in to the bubble here in Edmonton and here, like we're in Alberta. Yeah, I wish.
Well, I am. That's why it's a frozen screen. I'm in my quarantine right now for 14 days. My room's right next to Ed Olczyk, and after the show, I'm going to tell him what a moron he is for all the stupid questions he brought up on the broadcast. But I digress.
Then Victor Hedman gets his 6 on a nice slapper assisted by Point and Kucherov to make it 2-1. Of course, Ryan McDonough gets his first of the playoffs on another slapper to make it 3-1. 10:46 in. Unfortunately, Thomas Greiss, who had shutout Game 7 for the Islanders against the Flyers. Doesn't last long. It was his second straight start in shart. Well, he kind of sharted tonight, I guess. Yikes! It was his second straight start after his shutout in Game 7. It's like yikes. Not a
It,
fun
it,
one.
I was going to make a joke and say that Thomas Greiss needed a stick of Big Red to last a little longer, get closer to the puck a little longer with Big Red. Um, but yeah, these are the kinds of things that I bring to the show, guys and gals. But boy, I mean, everything that you just talked about in the first period, I mean, I'd like to kind of break it down because poor Thomas Greiss, I mean, some of it was on him, I think. Some of it, a lot of it overall in this game, the Islanders' defense, just yeesh. I don't know where to begin, bud.
Right.
But I guess from the start with Point's goal, I mean, that's the perfect start. It really is because you for me, I think the best thing the Islanders could have done, I don't know how you feel, because they bring a lot of physicality to their game, and I didn't see any of that tonight at all.
No.
Tampa controlled the tempo from the start. The Islanders looked just flat, and so Braden Point just pylons Ryan Pulock, who's a good defenseman. I mean, the Islanders defense is fine. It's not spectacular, but it's fine. But Braden Point didn't care. He gets right around Pulock, and then you got Adam Pelech on the left side, who has no chance of cutting off the front of the net because he's got, I think, Kucherov to defend against.
Mm-hmm.
So at that point, it's just hope Thomas Greiss makes a save. Point with a great move, 1-0. I like that you brought up that the Islanders came right back, Eric, because, I mean, right off the start, I was thinking, oh, no, that is the worst possible thing for the Islanders. The only way, dude, that they could be in this game is to tie it up right away, and Eberle did. Do you have any thoughts about that Islanders tie up there?
I liked it. I mean, and it seems like it's their classic Islander, their goal. I mean, yes, Barzal can have some highlight reel goals, and Bavillier's been getting some ugly goals for them. But this one is like loose puck right to the net, bang it home. It's like what we learned from D3 Mighty Ducks. Pick up the garbage. I mean, that's how you're gonna bang them in. You're not gonna always get the fancy, you know, Denny Savard, Spinorama, or Dipsy Doo like Patrick Kane or whatever. You're
Or
always
the
gonna get
Tampa
that.
Bay third period goals?
Yeah, pretty much. You're right. You're right. But I mean, I thought, okay, we got a game here, and to me, Kevin, I thought it was kind of wrong that the NHL kind of has been forcing at least one, give the teams from the East at least one day off to prep to get to the Mountain Time Zone. Uh,
It's it's very perplexing to me because the NHL in the last 7 or 8 years, I feel like, has really taken liberties with stretching out the schedule.
right.
So I've been wanting a more condensed schedule the last several years. I think this is just too much. I mean, they were talking on the broadcast about how I think it was Vegas played 3 out of the last 4 nights. The Islanders have played 3, or maybe it was Dallas played 3 and 5, but I think the Islanders also are 3 and 5. And with travel involved as well, like, wow, I understand that these are weird times and it's bubble hockey literally
Right.
here, but I feel like the NHL really likes to glorify the stat, and rightfully so, glorify the stat about 6 weeks and there have been 0 confirmed cases. So what's the problem with pushing everything out by a day
Yeah.
and giving these guys time to rest? Like, I I know that the draft date and the free agency date do factor into this, but you also want to market this sport, right?
Right.
And give the best potential outcome. We heard a lot. Again, I'm kind of jumping back over to the Dallas Vegas game from last night, but heard a lot of people saying, well, if you're watching hockey for the first time, this was not the game to watch,
Right.
And it's like, well, the NHL put themselves in that situation, I feel like, with this very condensed schedule. So yeah, it did wear on the Isles, and I think fundamentally you could see that like everything was just breaking down. Second and third goals, I'll use it to reach on that. The second and third goals, I thought both Thomas Greiss and the defense are at fault on this. Like two slapshot goals, Victor Hedman and Ryan McDonough, both goals, a Lightning player wide open in front of the net, uncontested, except for the goalie. Now, Thomas Greiss, on the other hand, because he's not seeing the shot, he's kind of just hoping at this point, and he doesn't want to give any holes, so he scrunches up his body as tight as he can. But by doing that, he's leaving the sides of the net open. And in both cases, he got beat to that stick side very cleanly. And again, not all his fault because he can't see the puck, but it's one of those things where if you're a goalie in that situation, you're gambling going, let nothing get through my legs or through my arms,
Mm-hmm.
or make myself as big as possible and hope the gaps are filled by the player screening in front of me. That's my tactic as a defenseman, just playing rec league hockey or beer league hockey,
Right.
is I would rather make them screen their own shot and let my goalie worry about what he can see. So like Grice got beat, I feel like, by playing this by covering the position that who was it, Killorn and Maroon were screening in front. I think it was
Yeah.
something like that. He basically took this. How do I want to say? He covered the net in the same spot that was already occupied by those two players. So he needed to make himself bigger. I do think that pulling him was the right call.
Yeah.
But poor Semyon Varlamov got hung out to dry after
Oh
that.
man. Yeah. Yeah. It wasn't great here on out for the Islanders. They would get one more goal in the third, but then in the second it just continue on as former San Francisco Bull Yanni Gord gets his fourth from Maroon and Shattenkirk on the wrister to make it 4-1. Then Braden Point gets another goal, his second of the night, his eighth of the playoffs from Hedman and Kucherov on a nice tip in midair, tipping for that matter too, to make it 5-1 after two periods of play. I mean, yikes! And then of course there was that one save that I think I pulled my groin on, Kevin, that Vasilevsky made, and it's just like screams to you right then and there. It's like this is not the night for the Islanders. Shake it off for another day and try to build some sort of momentum in the third.
That save is kind of the microcosm of goaltending in for the remaining teams in the playoffs, because Tampa is the only team that isn't trying to figure out which goalie they should be using right now. Now Dallas is using Hudobin because one, he's winning, but also two, because Ben Bishop's hurt and can't go.
Right.
I do think Bishop would play if he's healthy, and boy, oh boy, how many years in a row have we said that in the playoffs? If Ben Bishop can stay healthy in the playoffs, oh no! While I said that, he broke his leg. So
Jeez.
but Andrei Vasilevsky is the number one guy. Absolutely. I hardly remember that Curtis McElhaney is even the backup in Tampa Bay.
Right.
Um, so wow, what a save right there. And that's going to be a theme going forward, I feel like, is just Vasilevsky versus, we don't know.
Yeah.
I think Grice,
You think
but we don't know.
I and that's the interesting thing here is that who do you go to? I mean, yes, Grice got a second straight start, gets pulled after 10 plus minutes, but then Varlamov, gives up 5 goals on, let's see here, in the last two periods. I mean, my God, in the third, Tampa outshoots the Islanders 16-7. I mean, they outshot them 24-18 the final 2 periods. I mean, Varlamov saw a lot more pucks. I mean, but you say Grice for game two?
See, I do think Thomas Greiss starts game two. I think Thomas Greiss starts 2 and 3 here. Semyon Varlamov looked like a beaten goalie, mentally a beaten goalie. I mean, they were already, there were, I guess, rumors, you'd say, about whether he was still mentally in tune towards the end of the last series against Philadelphia. He hung in there for a while, and then Greiss obviously played game 7 there. But I think that's why Barry Trotz left Semyon Varlamov in the game tonight. Because if you're planning on starting Varlamov in game 2, you got to get him out there. Just, this game's a lost cause. Throw Greiss back in there. If Greiss isn't your guy, throw him back in there. What's going to happen? Is he going to give up 4 third-period goals? Oh, well. But it was Varlamov who gave up 4 third-period goals, and I think that was by design because it was like, all right, Varlamov's not our guy right now anyway, so sorry you're the sacrificial lamb, but I mean, I really did feel for the guy because after the last couple of goals and even just saves that he made that resulted in a stoppage of play in that third period, he just looked like, please get me out of there. And he was the first one off the ice at the end of the game, which is amazing considering you still had like 12 players on the bench and Varlamov still beat all of them to the locker room.
Right.
So, yeah, I do think Greiss is the guy here for game 2 and probably game 3. If the Isles were to go down 3-0 though, that's when you basically, if you're Trotz, you go to Semyon and say, you ready to go again?
Or you quickly like, Psst, Thatcher, are you still in the bubble?
Yeah.
I
Yeah. Or you know what after saying all that, who knows? I mean, with the way that the playoffs have gone especially in the last couple of weeks, game 2 comes around suddenly. Oh gosh, I don't even know who the Islanders' third string goalie is, but just suddenly
Is
they
it
say Varlamov
Sorokin?
is unfit to play, and it's just what? Because I feel like that has been a theme is goalies get hung out to dry and then never to be heard from again because they're deemed unfit to play. So I
Yeah.
don't think that's what happens here, but who knows?
Who knows?
Chris Gibson, I think, is their third string. Anyway.
Gotcha. And in the third period, Kucherov gets a nice play. It started with a nice pass from Shattenkirk gets tipped from Kucherov to Point. Then Kucherov delivers it back to Point delivers it back to Kucherov for his 5th to make it 6-1. Nick Leddy stops the bleeding for a moment at 8:46 with a nice slapper that beats Vasilevsky. Yes, Vasilevsky is human. To make it 6-2. But then, of course, not even a minute later, I think like 45 seconds later, Andre Palat gets a wrister in to make it 7-2. And
He
then
gets a wrister. That's putting it lightly.
that's what you're here for. I'm going to have you break it down. And then former San Francisco Bull and Worcester Shark Yanni Gord gets his second of the game for his 5th, making it 8-2 the final there. So in this case, Kevin, which goal was the prettiest out of the 3 that Tampa scored in the third?
Gee, you know what? Everyone's gonna rave about that Kucherov goal for days because of the stick. The way he positioned his stick to flick that puck over to Braden Point and then Point back to Kucherov. I want to get back to that goal in a sec, but of course, Palat, man, oh man, oh man. He was on fire there. The end of the who I've already forgotten who Tampa beat in the first round, but the end of that series.
Columbus.
What's up?
Columbus.
Columbus. Oh yeah, how could I forget that? That was a great series. So he was on fire at the end of that Columbus series, but then I mean he really took it to Boston. But there was one point where Palat I think hit the post or something, and I thought, oh no, his hot streak just ended right there. But he's put in a couple more goals since then, so he's doing okay. What a play! That was just. I mean, you could see it coming, and then what an answer, of course, after the Leddy goal. Nice shot by Nick Leddy. Well,
Yep.
that's my analysis there. Really nice shot, but uh, just as the play developed in the Islanders zone, I'm trying to remember who passed to who, but you know. Palat could have actually passed it over to Shattenkirk if he wanted and gotten four players involved on that. But real nice fake around Varlamov putting that in. Yeah, and that was the one that was just the. This game was out of reach, but if you could break their backs a second time, that did it.
Oh yeah.
Like that may have gone from a herniated disc into we need to have surgery on Monday or Tuesday kind of thing here. But even to start the third period, watching the Islanders' body language, they were just not into this. I feel like they have their little, I guess, powwow you'd say before they enter the rink, and that just looked like they were going through the motions. And that it's hard. You can be someone who yourself stays mentally in and like tries to rally the troops, but when you're trying to rally 18 troops in that situation, that's pretty difficult. And at the same time, think about this, Eric. I mean, this is a 7-game series. It's only game one, and you just traveled from Toronto to Edmonton.
Right.
Do the Islanders really want to kill themselves to get back into this game just to tie it and then potentially even lose an OT? Like, say they score 5 goals and tie it 6-6, and they go to overtime and they lose anyway.
Right.
How much energy is that team going to have for games two and games 2 and 3? Like, to me, even though it sucks that the Islanders did kind of throw in the towel, I think that was the right call. And Varlamov will disagree with you on that, but I think it was the right call there.
No, I think so too. Not to say that they're gonna give up, but yeah, I mean, you just got in from Toronto yesterday. You just finished a grueling 7-game series. Um, and not to make an excuse for them, and I'm sure Lou Lamoriello or Barry Trotz would not allow that to happen. But think about it. It's 5-1. You had a rough first period. Second period didn't help. Third period is yikes, and you go through it. I mean, freaking Tampa was 3 for 6 on the power play, and that's just crazy in itself. I mean, a power play that actually works. I mean, come on. But yeah, I mean, you just finish up everything and then just go to game two. You get the day off tomorrow, get back to game two, which I mean, I think now definitely a little more important than it was, about 3 hours ago. And I mean, clean slate. Now, if you lose that one in decisive fashion, then let's get concerned that we cannot have the the wishful thinking that they would put the fisherman logo on Eastern Conference champion merch. So, but again, you want to win whatever you can. I mean, we've seen it before. In fact, we've seen it with our Sharks twice. Where they've come back from big deficits to win big games. But yeah, with everything that happened, they go ahead and and
Mail it in.
yeah, mail it in. Hopefully. All
You
right.
know, the thing that I found very interesting about this game, though, because it was such a lopsided, I would even say game, not just like score or period. The game, this was Tampa's game all the way. But when you look at the ice time distribution, I mean, Cal Clutterbuck, I know he got hurt in the game, and that did play a factor, but he still only got minutes of ice time. Matt Martin got just under 10. Ross Johnston got 8.5. And I realized that Matt Martin and Ross Johnston, you're going to limit your ice time, but in a game that you're getting killed and you just traveled and you played a grueling series against Philly. Yeah, I have to think Barry Trotz would have liked to roll 4 lines more than he was able to. Because, I mean, in an 8-2 game, Matt Barzal still played 20 minutes and 1 second.
Yeah.
Like that's a lot of time for a guy who also got hurt last round. Um,
The puck was really attracted to him. We thought Logan Couture was taking pucks to the face too much. Barzal, sticks and pucks. Yikes.
yeah, yikes. But even from the Islanders side, the Islanders have been playing 7 defensemen for most of this playoffs, which I find is a very intriguing strategy, but it's obviously working. Um, But when you have a guy like Nikita Kucherov who's coming off his own injury, and there was a little bit of doubt about whether he would have been able to play a game 6 if there was one against Boston.
Right.
He comes out there, he leads the Lightning forwards in ice time tonight with 17 minutes 30 seconds, and puts up 5 points too. So he's obviously fine. But then even Tyler Johnson, less than 12 minutes tonight, even with the lopsided score and only 11 forwards, I would have thought there would have been more of a rotation there. So Tampa really put their stamp on this game and said, we're going to try and sweep you.
Oh yeah. And it goes again, and I know I'm going to sound ad nauseum for this, but it goes again to what the Sharks did in 2016, where they didn't forget what happened to them when they lost to the Kings in 2014. They had that
Mm-hmm.
revenge factor, and it springboarded them to a Stanley Cup final berth. And I think it's doing the same thing with Tampa. They wanted, as much as that you would say, oh, we'll take whoever we want. It doesn't matter. They wanted Columbus. Let's be real here. They wanted Columbus to get that revenge factor back in the from what happened last season,
Sure.
and it springboarded them.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I mean, this is a Tampa team now who has made the Eastern Conference Finals four out of the last 6 years and has 0 cups to that credit. So they are trying not to become the '90s Atlanta Braves, although the Braves did win one, but all those years that the Braves should have won the World Series and couldn't. I feel like that if I'm not going to say the Lightning window is over because it's not, but at some point, I feel like the Sharks are at that, where the Sharks went to the the conference final so many times. They did finally get to the Cup finals, was still lost, but at some point, when you start losing the first and second round, that just everything becomes draining at that point. And I
Right.
feel like if the Lightning don't win a cup here this year, if not next, that's when you're going to see this team without, unless they make major changes. It's going to be gosh, whatever we do, we can't win. Is what do we do? And
You have
then
to make a
that's when
shake.
you really start losing. What?
Almost like you have to make a major shakeup to just try to figure.
Right.
So, with that being said, I would like to announce the rumor that Mark Edward Vlasic to Tampa for Steven Stamkos straight up would be a great idea. Why not? The Sharks need a center. They probably could use some defensive depth. I mean, come on, let's be real here. So, Braden Point and Nikita Kucherov, 5-point nights. My goodness, my oh me. I mean, yes, it was an 8-2 victory, but uh, I couldn't tell you, and I don't have Darren Stevens on speed dial, but I don't recall a long time ago that 5 point nights from two players on the same team happen very often indeed. So there is that. What else did I have from my notes here?
Oh, I got one positive for the Islanders. I
Oh,
just found it.
okay.
They found it. I mentioned Tyler Johnson had less than 12 minutes of ice time. They also were 80% in faceoffs against him tonight, and they made Tyler Johnson the only minus on the Lightning. So if the Islanders had some kind of a vengeance against him for who knows why,
Right.
there's a positive.
You know.
Poor Tyler Johnson. That's a guy I want the Sharks to get too. So
Well, there we go.
that's kind of depressing to see that here.
Hey, I'm sure it'll be a draft day trade, in which I would have you say.
We have a trade to potentially announce.
Yes. All right. So we'll put that in.
You found a way to get it in
I
there.
found a way. Yes. Couldn't get a trade. I mean, come on, NHL. Kevin texted me earlier this morning that they wanted to do this show, and guess what? No trades. Come on, for crying out loud. Let's get into the chat because there's a lot of people chatting in there. We thank each and every one of you. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. If you're new here, hit that notification bell. That'll know when you notified when we get on the air. Chuck Schumer. So about that first round pick. Yeah, it's 3 wins away from being almost a second, but that's kind of what we figured when we picked it up. I mean, it was wishful
and actually,
thinking.
I was thinking here. Sorry, I was thinking here earlier tonight. I need to actually look it up. But do we still hold any of Philly's picks, or have those already been traded away?
I believe we have their third round pick in this year's draft.
Okay,
it was a second and a third for Braun.
Right. See, that's what I remember, but I can't remember if we traded those or what, because I was thinking, oh man, if the Flyers had beaten the Islanders to the conference finals, that's another draft pick that's just falling down the spots. But that didn't happen. So,
Nope. I'm looking at it right now. For 2020, it is. No, I take that back. Okay, they have Tampa's
I feel like
first.
the Sharks traded the third for someone.
Yeah, they had that. Hang on here. They have Tampa's first, their own in Colorado's second, their in Ottawa's fifth, and then Pittsburgh and Washington's seventh this year's draft. So, my mistake. So yeah, they must have made a move with that.
You know what? I remember it. That was the pick that they traded with Goodrow to get the first.
Okay.
I remember they traded a third round pick, and it had to have been Phillies. So.
Yeah. Okay. So apparently, not so mid-major thought we were impersonating Kermit the Frog, not Al Michaels. Rob saying Lacey
family
should
gag with Al Michaels, Harold Ramis, and Kermit the Frog, and I forget who the fourth guy was, but
Rob saying Lacey should not be wearing a turtleneck in excessive heat.
I'm still trying to figure out how I've been able to hold my smile in that position for the last 30-something minutes.
Chuck Schumer says Tampa put on a clinic. It's just crazy. Sleepy Mofo saying, summer is ending soon when Lacey is wearing the turtleneck. Then he's like, oh, I didn't know that was a stock photo. Never mind. Yeah, no, all good, Sleepy. All good.
I'm still trying to figure out how NHL playoff hockey was being played on my birthday on Friday. That's still mind-boggling to me. I got 2 Game 7s, and one of them resulted well at least.
Yeah, right. The other one almost did, but yikes. Yeah. Rob making a good point. Maybe the NHL wants to limit overlapping with the NFL season. Can't blame you on that.
Oh yeah.
That makes sense, especially since they're supposedly coming back December 1st. Well, remains to be seen. Which reminds me, Kevin, because I know you're a fellow Shark Pack holder as well. Have you heard anything from your ticket rep?
Not at all. My ticket rep has been staying in contact with me. Just like every 4 to 6 weeks or so, I would just get messages. But as far as any specifics, I have not heard that. And honestly, I don't expect to really hear anything because of the situation that the NHL is probably going to end up playing in 4 bubble cities. More than likely that, they still have to get together and figure that out. But I don't see hockey being played in San Jose the rest of the calendar year. That includes the AHL. I don't know. I know the AHL is saying December 4th. I don't know how that's going to happen. So
Right. And what's the team name again?
the Barracuda.
Oh,
Ooh, Barracuda.
that was for you.
It's
Hey, it's been a while.
It's ooh, not oh. Actually, I do have some Barracuda news to share.
Oh, you do?
As soon as I can...
wait.
Ooh, Barracuda.
You done yet?
Okay, I'm sorry. Hey, when we have something excited to talk about, we can't help it. I mean, I went by the rink a few weeks ago and took some pictures of dirt, which used to be a parking lot for the new Barracuda arena. So I'm looking forward to seeing how quickly that gets built. But you have some Barracuda news, by all means. Go ahead and share.
Not so much news, but for those Jersey aficionados out there, there is a Jaden Hobgawaks game used white Barracuda jersey up on the AHL shop auction site. I can't remember what it's called, but it's ahLauthentic.com. And I'm looking here that there's still basically 6 more days left in the auction. Right now, a couple of bids, the highest being for $271 for
it's
the Jaden
$800. Stop it. Okay,
$800 for the
Yeah.
Jaden Hobb. I could probably have have her son sign that for you.
No, I actually would like a Helga Watts jersey. I mean,
Okay.
It would probably fit me, so that'll be perfect.
Okay, well, you know what? Then we will just
We'll edit
erase
this
the
out.
last 5, huh?
We'll edit this out.
We'll edit this and post, and the last 3 minutes will just be ooh, Barracuda on
did
loop.
somebody say ooh Barracuda?
Ooh, Barracuda.
Okay. Yeah. All right. That's enough.
Well, we got a Barracuda segment and a trade to announce in there.
I
So
am so happy now. Yes. All right. I am ecstatic now. All right. What else did we say we wanted to cover on here? You wanted to talk about last night's, to quote your tweet, last night's boring ass game. I mean, it is the first time that Dallas won a playoff game since the Calgary series by scoring less than 5 goals.
That's right, because didn't they score 5 in all of their wins or something like that? Yeah. Yeah, last night both those teams, they went out there and they played hard, but they gave what they had. But I just think both teams are still coming off those series because I think you've got Vegas who is far superior to Vancouver, right? And then they threw everything they could at Thatcher Demko, who is doing his best Jim Craig impersonation. I mean, I was not alive in 1980, but if I've seen the game and I got those Jim Craig type vibes watching Thatcher Demko and just like the what can't he do kind of thing.
Right.
But I think Vegas gave everything they had into that, and a lot more than I think they planned to give in that series. So then going up against Dallas, who is a much stronger opponent, I think Vegas is like having a trouble adapting to playing a more difficult team versus Dallas, who I think was just straight up exhausted from the last series. So I think we're gonna see a much stronger. I know we don't really want to say that, but I think we are gonna see a much stronger Vegas team tomorrow. But Eric,
Yes.
it's Dallas and Vegas. Like, this is my worst nightmare. I mean, I'm cheering for Dallas. It doesn't feel good. Joe Pavelski, woo! But that's it.
I mean, it's tough. I mean, if it weren't for Pavs, this would be like I think to quote Rocket, I hope both of you lose. I mean, it's tough. I mean, but Pavelski there makes it a lot easier, but Vegas, oh my God. I've been saying it, and Felix will mention it many times when I've been in there. Hashtag ABV, anyone but Vegas. I just saying.
Man,
it's crazy. Now, no specific NHL news per se, but we will cover up on a couple of Ottawa Senator stories. First and foremost, congrats to Bobby Ryan for winning the Masterton tonight. That was announced prior to Game 1 on that one, and I think well-deserved considering the number of things he's dealt with over the years.
Yeah, absolutely. The Bobby Ryan story is something that I need to catch up on. Hockey kind of had to be not brushed aside, but I mean, essentially that for me, most of the spring there. And so I'm still playing catch up on the world of hockey here. But I do know that Bobby Ryan came back from his alcohol situation. And I know that meant a lot to him because, I mean, he was in tears when he came back, just all the moral support that he's gotten. And didn't he get a hat trick in his first game back
yeah,
too?
Yeah, he did. And,
did I hear something like that?
It was great to see, and you were happy to see a guy who's been through a lot, just in his career, but personally off ice. I mean, yeah, it's great to have.
And what I like about the Bobby Ryan situation is like I do like the moral support that he's been getting these last several months, because Bobby Ryan, I feel like, is one of the most polarizing players discussed on social media. It for all reasons. Like, I feel like because his expectations when he was drafted were so high, he's never even when he was playing well in Anaheim and in Ottawa, he was still not. I don't know. I just feel like fans were very hard on him, and I feel like that did play a role in what he went through, because players funny enough, kids, players do read the stuff that you write about them on Twitter.
Or
shocking,
Instagram.
I know. Huh?
Or Instagram. Just ask Jonathan Marsh.
Or Instagram. Oh, geez, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's true that, like, I feel like I've grown up on Twitter a bit, and I do try to, I never try to directly attack anyone, any players, anything on that, but I've tried to be more cognitive about just anything that I write in general that someone might read, because I do get a lot of players who like the tweets or whatever, and it's like, oh man, like just a couple days ago, Pat Nagel, who's a goalie for the Grand Rapids Griffins, liked something that I wrote, and it's like, okay, that had nothing to do with Pat Nagel, but that's cool. And these are the types of things that I feel like people need to be more aware of.
Yeah.
So, like Bobby Ryan, a lot of negative things were written about him. So it's nice kind of getting back to the Masterton thing here and overcoming, or at least working on his alcohol addiction. And I think it's nice that he's finally getting public support
Right.
from the hockey community. So
It's great to see, and to steal a quote from Hockey Jerk, you love to see it, for sure.
there you go.
The other bit of news, and I didn't crop this out, so AJ, if you are watching, forgive me, but the new Ottawa Senators jersey essentially leaked out yesterday. This, of course, is a Fanatics and the women's cut, so that's why you see the V neck, not the Adidas style neck there. But it outside the extra gold accoutrements to the primary logo, it is pretty much a replication of what they wore when they came into the league in 1992, or re-entered the league in 1992. This was always one of my favorites, just the classic black and red. I mean, it's not the barber pole, but what do you think? I kind of like this.
I see. I know several people who really like this look. This doesn't do it for me. I know I'm in the minority on this because I actually like the logo sets that have come out after this and the jerseys and stuff. But I'm willing to give this a chance when I see it on a player
Yeah.
because I feel like with black jerseys, especially, I've learned from the Sharks releases on black jerseys. I'm not a big fan of the current blacks, but that's just me.
Right.
But the what do I want to say? Like the early 2000s black jersey that came out,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, eh. And then when I saw it in person, I was like, oh, that's actually a very nice uniform.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Black
the
armor.
Ronick Boyle era blacks, I guess
Yeah.
you'd say. Again, I saw that and I went, ugh. And then the first time I saw it, I went, I'm buying that. like, so I'm willing to give this a chance because, again, it doesn't strike me, but I know a lot of people do like it. And if the rest of the uni looks nice going with it, I'm sure it's going to look great.
Yeah. The only thing I think is just they had this two-dimensional alternate logo when they did change the logo in like 2007.
Mm-hmm.
That is just chef's kiss. And
See, I agree. A lot of people I know hate that logo, which I don't know why. I actually do like that.
Yeah.
So we can agree on that.
yeah, definitely. No, I think it's really great, and it's too bad that never got used. And I hope in some form if they find a way to change it, I think that'd be great. So that'd be that. And of course, we hate to be a little sad, but today is an anniversary in hockey history. Unfortunately, Kevin, I'll let you take the vote for this one.
Yeah, 9 years ago today, well, early this morning, 9 years ago, Lokomotiv Yaroslavl, the one of the Russian hockey teams in the KHL, their entire team passed away in a plane crash as they were taking off from the airport. I have written about that. I don't know if the article is still up on Teal Town USA. I'll need to look into seeing if I can get that back online. But I did write an article a few years ago about it. Obviously, a very sad day. To me, it's the worst day in the history of the sport of hockey. I will never forget being awoken at 6:50 a.m. by a friend of mine who lives in Canada who just texted me simply, entire hockey team dies in plane crash. And that is like, what a way to wake up. I went from who is texting me on my only day off this week, like at 6 something in the morning, to jolting up and running to my computer and seeing what was going on. Like, just absolutely tragic. So many great former NHLers, most notably Pavel Demitra, who I absolutely love. You were talking to Ottawa Senators there. He was on the Ottawa Senators there those early years when they were wearing those black jerseys, and one of the most lopsided trades ever. Him to St. Louis for Krister Olsen. I'll not forget that one. But Pavel Demitra, Ruslan Saleh, Carlos Skrastinch, Josef Vasicek, who's a Carolina Hurricane Cup winning legend there. Brad McCrimmon, the coach, it's hard. I still wear my Lokomotiv bracelet. The writing has completely worn off, Eric, and they don't make them anymore. They don't produce them anymore, but I still wear mine every day. And so I'm glad that you letting me talk about that, just because it is something that that was especially when I was regularly watching and covering the KHL, covering loosely, I guess but I followed it anyway. So yeah, what were your thoughts going through your head that day when that happened?
When I heard about it,
Do you remember anything about it?
Yeah, I vaguely. In fact, I want to say there was no, I don't think they had a preseason game. I remember the first preseason game going into that season, they had a very long video that they played in all the arenas. I was surprised, like you were, just shocked. We've heard about the why can't I think of the junior team that had a bus accident? Swift Current Broncos in like 1986. There was that, and of course we heard about now more recently why is my brain just going, the Humboldt Broncos? There we go, and that, but that one really shook because it made you think, yes, it is a game, yes, these guys are more than just hockey players, they're human beings, and for an entire team to perish is unfathomable. They're just, because you put it in perspective as to these guys these guys are on planes all the time, and little did you know that down the road that something like this could happen. And I remember it was like, what are the contingencies of something like that if it were to happen to any team, it's just, it's sad and scary because Kevin, how integrated these sports teams are to a community, and especially I can relate to '94 when the Sharks really put their foot on the map in San Jose, just how integrated that the team can be inserted into a community, and the community just loves them. And to have that kind of taken away with Lokomotiv, it's just really scary, and just you just
it's unfathomable, and it's something that I'm happy that we haven't seen more of.
Right.
And transportation in general has improved so much in the last 25 years, but it is that reminder that nobody's invincible.
Yep.
And athletes are not invincible. And for the entire team, and especially you're talking about like being ingrained in the community, it's absolutely true at every level, but I do feel like there is that much more overseas, much more involvement, because we chant for the Sharks, and most just sports teams in general overseas, like the fans of Lokomotiv don't chant Lokomotiv, they chant Yaroslavl, like they chant their city name because that's the team for their city.
Right.
and the youth programs that they have, they typically are legit homegrown prospects. You get teams that acquire players from other leagues, other countries. That's how Lokomotiv had Dimitra, Skrastinch, Saleh, all none of which are from Russia.
Yep.
They were all imports, Vasicek as well. But still, you do have a lot of homegrown players. Ivan Kachenko being the number one thing, who did so much community charity work in that town, and so it's very tragic. And we should also mention the Sharks did lose a prospect as well
Yep.
in Daniel Somchenko, who if I hope I'm not misremembering. I don't quite remember, but I thought they said he proposed to his girlfriend like the day before the crash.
Oh,
I might
jeez.
be wrong on that, but I thought that was something that I read.
Yeah.
So it does, like, this crash affected the whole world, San Jose included, and so I do feel like it is something that we do need to at least observe for a moment and just take it in and just appreciate what we have and hope that we never have another situation like that again for a sports team of any magnitude, whether it is the
Absolutely.
Sharks, the Barracuda, or the local beer team that should be playing at the Ice Center at like 10 o'clock tonight.
Right.
So.
Absolutely. I completely agree with you 100% on that. So with that, everyone, please be safe. You know, I'm glad you mentioned Daniel
Daniel
Shevchenko.
Sobchenko?
Yes, the sixth round pick in the 20. He was just drafted, in the 2011 draft. And attended the development camp for that one. So with that, we'll bring it close to this program for the evening. If in case you missed anything and you want to watch this again, check us out on tealtownusa.com or your favorite podcatcher. They're all listed over there for sure, right there. So check us out. Brand new Pucknologist dropped last night, so go check that out with AJ Rocket and Jerk.
That was a fun one too. I was able to listen to that, and I thought that was a really, really fun show to listen to them all banter. And so everyone, go check that out if you haven't already.
Yeah, definitely. And with that, we'll bring a close. Kevin, it's great to hear you. You've
I'm
just been
still
standing
smiling.
still. You've been smiling there for close to an hour, and it's amazing how you are just so frozen there. I mean, that's unbelievable in this heat with that turtleneck. I don't know how you're just like not wringing out the sweat out of there But anyways, your final thoughts, sir, and where the people can find you.
Well, my final thoughts are that the Tampa Bay Lightning are showing why I've picked them to win the Stanley Cup for a third straight year, even though they didn't. I mean, I picked them for 3 straight years. They haven't won anything yet. So they cannot let this game go to their head. They need to just stay on the gas. And the Islanders, I think, need to bring out the physicality in their own game because I think they can score enough goals to compete in this series. But if they don't make life miserable for the Tampa forwards, I don't think the Islanders' defense and goaltending can overcome the firepower that the Lightning have and bring, and as we saw tonight. So I am at Kevin Lacey 22, and I just want to share. I like to share random facts when I can. I just found out earlier today that former Sharks Jamie and Ty McGinn, along with their brother who plays for Carolina, Brock McGinn, and their dad, Bob McGinn, are the co-owners of the Roanoke Rail Yard Dogs hockey team, which plays, I believe, in the SPHL. So
Wow.
who knew? But the whole family owns a team in Roanoke, Virginia. So there you go.
Nice.
So that's my contribution to the show. Thanks for having me, Eric.
Of course, Kevin. Appreciate it as always. I'm at PuckGuy14 on the Twitter and the Instagram. Appreciate each and every one of you joining us. We'll be back tomorrow following Game 2 of the Dallas Stars and Las Vegas Knights in that one, so be on the lookout for that one. But hey, check out our social media. I was gifting the game tonight along with a bunch of other things on our Instagram and our Facebook. Of course, hit that subscribe button. You'll never regret it for sure. You can take a look at some of our previous content, including Pucknologists and interviews we did during the pause. So until then, keep it real, keep it teal, keep it real teal. Thank you very much, everyone, and have a great night. We will see you tomorrow.